Hey guys, what's going on? BMcG here. Today we're here to talk about my rank 3 Purgatory, and we're going to get right into it with some gameplay because I made a guide called Purgatory for Dummies. If you want to learn how to use her and learn her abilities, that's where I would go before watching this. It's like a 5-6 minute watch, so if you guys want to watch that and learn how to use her and learn her abilities, that's where to go, because this is a showcase, and we're just going to showcase how powerful this champion is because she's pretty ridiculous. I love this champion. I've always had a soft spot for her because I love champions who can have persistent abilities throughout quests, but not need them, if that makes sense. And that's very rare in this game. And she nails that. I mean, she has all these special abilities that she can carry throughout the quest, these class soul abilities, but she's phenomenal if she can't ramp up, which is rare. A ramp up champion that's great in the first fight, that's pretty unheard of. So we are starting off against some Battlegrounds style health pools. This is a 7-star rank 3 serpent essentially, so this is what it would look like in Battlegrounds. There are no nodes here, so nothing here affecting the fight, nothing here affecting the damage. And serpent is now kind of like the litmus test for mystic champions nowadays for the community, which I don't think is exactly fair, but it makes sense. He's the best cosmic defender, arguably the best defender in the game. If a mystic champion can't counter him, you might not put them in your deck. So I get it. Purgatory is a good serpent counter. She's not a perfect serpent counter, and we'll get into that in a second. She has nullify every time she gains a bar of power, which allows her to control his power gain buffs. And she also has stacking neutralize passives that allow her to fail the true focus buff that he places on his special attacks, and as you saw there, his death immunity buff. So she can fail it, it's not guaranteed, which makes her a good counter to Serpent. Next up we have Maestro, and he's probably the second best cosmic defender in the game, right behind Serpent. So if you can't take either of these guys, you're not really going to make it into a Battlegrounds deck. And I have good news for you guys, she is a good counter to Maestro as well. I wouldn't say she's a perfect one, but she's pretty good. I mean, look at that. Maestro has, I think, the highest health pool in the game in the Cosmic class, and she's just ripping through this guy as if it's like one of the smallest. And I think this was like a 45-second fight, something like that. And she does a really good job here, and you can close the fight out here with a special one that allows you to counter some of that energy damage that he does when you're close to him. So yeah, she's really good for Maestro. And then another, I mean, he used to be very prevalent on defense. Now he's kind of just sitting as a 6-star. But Hulkling. This is a 7-star rank 3 Hulkling on the content creator beta test map. And she is a phenomenal counter to Hulkling because she has nullify every time she passes a bar of power. And she also has those neutralize. So she has two ways to just gain power, because Mystic Dispersion, when you nullify a buff, you gain a bunch of power. And then she also has the neutralize to prevent some of these buffs from occurring, like this indestructible buff that, you know, Hulkling loves because it slows down the damage that you can deal. But you can see that he's just not going to trigger it again in this fight, and we finish here with a stylish heavy attack, full yellow bar. Can't complain there. Next up we have Red Skull, who I think is probably the top tech defender. I might be missing somebody, but generally speaking, Red Skull is pretty good as a tech defender, and she counters him decently well. She does a lot of damage, and then she's more of a red numbers champion, like I said, for Serpent. I don't know if I said that for Serpent, but Serpent likes when you deal red numbers. That's how you normally counter him. Like degen is a great way to counter him because he doesn't mitigate that damage because it's direct damage. And the same thing with Red Skull here. His health pool is not that big, but he's got the armor ups. So if you can't find a way to deal damage through those armor ups, you're going to struggle. She can rip off some of those armor ups with armor breaks, and the red numbers allow her to get through that fight pretty easily. Next up we have Korg, who is arguably a top 3 skill defender still. I mean, we've got Bullseye, Atuma, and Korg, and she counters him phenomenally. She has energy damage for all of her attacks, which allows her to counter his rock stacks and not take any damage from them. And then she also has red numbers, which is great because Korg has critical resistance. So if you are trying to rely on your critical hits to take this dude out, you're not really going to be able to do as much damage as you would like, because he's going to mitigate that damage with the critical resistance. But like I said, she's got the red numbers with the degen. She also has the incinerates, and Korg has negative energy resistance. I don't know if you guys knew that. So she's dealing more damage on her base hits and the incinerates if I would use those. So yeah, that was Korg in under 60 seconds, I think, which is pretty solid. And next up we have a rank 3 thing. Sorry about that. And this guy is Sig 200. So he's going to have a lot of protection if we stun him or hit his damage cap, essentially. And this isn't like a perfect counter showcase because there's like Rintra and Tigra and Wiccan. They all have 100% neutralized the second they inflict it. And that allows them to just chew through his rock stacks and ignore his rock stack abilities. She has to ramp her neutralize up, which is fine because generally you can use your nullify to also control some buffs along the way while you get the full shutdown going. But you're going to see here I make some mistakes and we still ignore his rock stacks, which is really cool. Right there, he's still letting some of his buffs get through. It's not a huge deal though. And she does red numbers. I mean, it's pretty funny how valuable red numbers are because it used to be a game of crits and now it feels like a game of red numbers. And yeah, she took down Thing and I think it was just under 60 seconds. Next up, we're in Act 8.1.4. This is Combat Deja Vu, Unblockable, Poison Vulnerability, Arcane Zeal, and a couple other things. And I just wanted to showcase her in questing content because she is a monster when she could ramp up and collect class souls. So we are starting off here against this Thor, like I said, and we are going to try to capture this guy's Cosmic Soul so we can nullify any champion's buff once we, passive our power. We'll be able to nullify one buff against any champion. It doesn't just have to be Cosmic. So yeah, we take this dude down with a second special 2, and we started the fight with the Mystic Soul because we brought the Guillotine synergy. Next up we have Star-Lord. Take this dude down and we get the Tech Soul. We already have the Cosmic Soul, so Venom Pool doesn't really matter, but Professor X here, we gain the Mutant Soul. So these are the 4 souls that we're going to be rocking with going into the next, the boss fight, essentially, here. So yeah, we finish Super Scroll here with a Special 3, and boom. I love that victory animation, it's so clean. And this Corvus fight, I almost wanted to redo, but it was too funny not to. This guy has Steady Build Up Fury, Rust and Ruin, Footloose, and some other nodes. They don't really matter that much because Purgatory, once she's fully ramped, she does a lot. And yeah, the name of the game with Purgatory is just build up your Bloodthirst, get to your Special 2, and drop it. And if you get hit and you want to regen some health, drop the Special 1. That's pretty much all you need to do. And she's just going to destroy this dude. The damage on these basic hits with all these armor breaks is just phenomenal. And we're going in here, and I realized, I'm like, oh, we got a lot of power. We could kill this dude. And all I need is just one hit of my Special 2 to crit. We don't get a crit. So we hit into his block a little bit, and then boom, he throws a Special 3. There we go. Let's see what happens when we skip it, and we are dead. I didn't think we would die. My reaction when I was recording this was, it was pretty funny. It was pretty good. But yeah, I don't do live recordings. I try to just do recordings when I can. But yeah, next up we're in 8.2.5. This is Armored Assault. And there's a bunch of other things. There's also immunity to armor breaks, so the Tech Soul that we get is not going to be usable on the path here, essentially, but we can use it against the boss. So we are going to start off against this Cosmic Ghost Rider here, and it's pretty straightforward. We still have the Nullify to potentially remove that armor up if it comes up, and it also allows us to fuel Mystic Dispersion. And we are going to try to bait out this next Special 1 from him. We get it, full dex, go in with a double medium, drop the Special 2 because we are fully unblockable, and then just rinse and repeat that to finish out this fight. And then we'll go on another soul collecting rampage with Purgatory after this fight. I had a lot of fun doing these quests and then editing the little montage after the first fight of each quest, because I did want to show you guys what the first fight is like, because I do want you to guys know that she's not bad in her first fight. Like, she's fine. Like, she does most act content fights in like 60 seconds, and then once she starts getting ramped, it becomes like 40 seconds, then 30 seconds. So yeah, we've captured a Cosmic Soul, a Tech Soul, and a Mutant Soul. Those are the only 3 that we'll have on this path, and I didn't bring any synergies. Next up, we've got the Cersei boss here, and she has Stress Test, Vigorous Assault, Buffet Over Time, and Hit Me, I Dare You. And there's also Mystic Ascendancy here. So every time we launch a special attack during Demonic Rampage, we gain a massive Fury buff. But with Buffet Over Time here, it's going to be hard to get that Fury buff going because she's just going to nullify it with Buffet Over Time. Not a huge deal though, because we still deal a lot of damage because Demonic Rampage gives you that flat attack rating increase. And then we're also stacking a bunch of armor break debuffs on this Cersei here that not having that Fury buff isn't that big of a deal. I also want to mention that we are not boosted here. Like, this is just base Purgatory. We're running just normal masteries. I could put my mastery setup in the description if you guys want, but really doesn't matter. We did get that Fury buff there, which is awesome. So now we drop another special 2, and that's it. Drop the Striker, and then a couple hits, and she's done. So that was 8.2.5 Cersei done in like 50-something seconds. It's just nuts. Next up, we're in Act 8.2.3. This is Vigorous Assault, and a couple other buffs. There's like Hale and Hardy. They're not a big deal. They're just Mystic Dispersion food for Purgatory. So yeah, we're going on another class soul collecting rampage. We're starting off here against this Kamala Khan. She gains Fury buffs on special activation, which is more buffs for Purgatory to just nullify and use as power. And now we're in Demonic Rampage, drop the special 2, and that's a lot of damage there. Going in with some basic attacks. I mean, that was a 25k crit on her medium attack. And we close out the fight here with the special 2. The degens will tick her down. Next up, we've got Star-Lord, capture the Tech Soul. We've got Surfer, Cosmic Soul's already captured. We have White Magneto. We take this dude down and we capture his soul too. We take down Hercules while failing his immortality buff, by the way. We take down this Hulkbuster, and then I think that's the last fight on this path. So we're going into this next fight with 3 souls captured, and this is the Nimrod boss in 8.2.4. 8.2.3, sorry about that, guys. There's Steady Perseverance, Arcane Zeal, Divine Barrier, Wax On, Wax Off, and Do Not Disturb. All of that does not matter, because Purgatory is just going to deal a bunch of damage, utilize these buffs on Nimrod for Mystic Dispersion food, and she's just going to deal a lot of damage to this Nimrod. It's really not going to matter. We get the special 1 dex here, and we go in, and then we drop the special 2 because we are passively unblockable, and boom. A lot of degen damage there. It's like almost 8,000 damage per tick, so it's like 16,000 damage per second. It's more like 15. But yeah, once this Unstoppable goes away, gain some power with Mystic Dispersion. If you parry a lot with her, you gain those passive power gains, which is also useful. So if you can parry the opponent's special attack, that's a great way to get some extra power gains going. And yeah, now we're failing the Unstoppable, I think. Yeah, we failed the Unstoppable from his mode change during his special 2. And right here we get in with a nice intercept. And I think we are going to drop, yeah, we're going to drop the special 2 here. And I think that should do it. That's just going to tick him down, and that is it. So that was probably the longest boss fight that we have in here, not counting Necropolis, because that's where we're going next. We have Vision Arcus here. We soloed this fight just barely, though. As you can see, we ran out of the charges. But yeah, we captured the Cosmic Soul. I mean, even if you can't finish that fight solo, you can still capture the soul and you'll be fine. Next up, we get this Treasure Deadpooloid, which is really awesome because it gives us a nice stat boost increase. And we use that going into the Omega Sentinel fight. You guys are probably wondering why I'm showing a lot of this fight. I thought I had a lot of it edited out, but you'll see here in a second that I do a little transition there. I was trying to get the special 2s to line up the way Karate Mike does it during his deep dives, but yeah. Next up, we've got Omega Sentinel here, and this is also a solo. And I thought it was really cool because she not only inflicts armor breaks to remove the armor up buffs on Omega Sentinel, there's also a point to where Omega Sentinel doesn't gain any armor up buffs because she has negative 100% buff ability accuracy. The neutralize stacks up to 10, and we are no longer dealing with her auto block, which is an awesome thing to have. And even if she's auto blocking, the only thing she's going to do is just like trigger a well-timed block. She's not going to stun us because Purgatory is immune to Incinerate, which is awesome utility to have. And this is pretty much the name of the game here. She's got those 10 neutralized, so we could do whatever we want and not worry about her armor ups. And it's just spam special 2. Maybe manipulate your power a little bit with the power consumption on the second medium attack to try to stack up some armor break debuffs, but realistically that's not even needed because she deals enough damage just building up normally, which I think is absolutely awesome. So yeah, she does a lot here. I mean, you could even weave in special 3s if you want, because the special 3 gives you a power gain buff that allows you to gain 3 bars of power over 35 seconds, allowing you to spam special 2s even easier, which is just awesome in my opinion. And now we're going to finish out with Necropolis Airwalker because I think this solo is pretty cool. A lot of people think this fight is super hard, and it is only hard if you don't solo. This is like one of the only fights in Necropolis that you have to solo. A couple tricks for any champion against Airwalker is block the special attacks. You don't want to dex them because when you dex them, he inflicts the Dark Tide debuffs, and those deal direct damage, I believe, or energy damage, or whatever. Trickles down your health, and you don't want that. So you just block his special attacks, and you're fine. You could do that easily with Wiccan, Absorbing Man, Wong, and a couple other champions. I think Onslaught does it too. They just don't take a lot of damage because they either have ways to mitigate damage with resistance ups or inequity. And this fight is, I think, 5.5, maybe 6 minutes, so it's not like a record-setting fight. But I do think it's a great showcase of her realistically in long form content. I mean, like, these fights have 8 million health, and a lot of people have this unrealistic expectation where it's like, if you can't solo a Necropolis fight as a rank 3, then you're not that great. I don't know, man. I don't really agree with that. I think any champion being able to solo Necropolis right now still at 7-star rank 3 is a great achievement for that champion. Like, I know a lot of people were talking crap about Nagase's Sentry showcases because the Sentry was rank 3 and he's soloing stuff, or like Northstar needing to be rank 2 or rank 3 to solo stuff consistently. That's normal for Necropolis in my opinion. Like, a rank 1 champion is not gonna steamroll Necropolis. So I think it's really cool that she's able to solo a lot of these fights. I don't know how many she can solo. I don't have the time to test and see how many she can. Maybe someone else can do it and post some cool content on that. I'll shout you guys out if you do it. But yeah, she's pretty phenomenal in Necropolis from my testing so far. I mean, she had 3 straight solos. She could potentially solo Captain Britain as well. Yeah, I think she could solo Captain Britain, although those exhaustion debuffs reducing your critical damage rate would slow Purgatory down quite a bit. I think she could still do it. I also think she could solo Wiccan, because after a certain point she'll fail all of his special 1 regens, so he won't be regenerating all the energy damage that he's taken throughout the whole fight. I think she would struggle against Psycho Man, and I also think she would be good against the Apocalypse, Tigra, Hercules path, because she would shut down a lot of those fights. She would struggle against Nova because she goes unblockable like almost every other second in this fight, which is, it's funny. But yeah, she's ripping through this fight pretty well, and I love that she has a way to consume power and get off the 3 bars of power. A lot of people like complain about Mystic Dispersion because of that, and like there's certain champions who can alter the power gain, or like they can easily dump specials and it's not a big issue. But like there's certain fights where it's like you're just gonna go red against a certain champion. It's like it's guaranteed, and it doesn't matter with her because you could just do a second medium, consume half a bar of power, and you're back at your special 2, which is your main damage dealer anyways, and then you just go from there. I love champions that can do that, or like lock a certain special attack so they can't use it, like future Ant-Man's I think it was his special, or his fourth light attack allows him to lock the highest special attack that he has active. So like if you want to use a special 1 at special 2, or at 2 bars of power, you just do your fourth light and use special 1. I love like power manipulation mechanics like that. And I think she was one of the first champions in the game to actually have something like that, which is cool for someone who came out in 2021. I mean, that's almost, I think 3.5 years ago from when she came out. Damn, it's almost 2025. I'm making this video on New Year's Eve because I've got nothing going on. So yeah, it's just funny to look back on that kind of stuff and how the game's kind of evolved. Because I think she's a phenomenal design that, with the buff, the initial design aged very well. Because the actual buff didn't really change much. It just made her ramp persist throughout the whole quest instead of 2 fights. It also allowed her to get, I think, a full shutdown on buff ability accuracy, if I'm correct, because before it used to be like 65%. And then it also just made everything a little bit more potent. And I don't even think she needed the damage buff, like realistically. Like a 6-star rank 5 Purgatory before her buff was still dealing a solid amount of damage. She was just impractical to ramp up. But as you're seeing now, I mean, this is pretty practical, and we've ripped through this Airwalker as I've been just absolutely yapping. We've been ripping through this guy fairly well, and we're still at almost a full yellow bar, which is just nuts. So that regen on block that we get from the Mystic Soul, we have that from the, I think, Guillotine Synergy. And then we also have willpower healing from the armor break. It's an all-around great time. So yeah, if you guys did enjoy this video and you want to see more, consider hitting the like button and subscribing if you aren't already. I'd greatly appreciate it because I'm starting to look into getting more consistent with my content on YouTube. I'm going to look to post a little bit more consistently, not regularly, consistently, so you guys can expect more from me on a more consistent basis. And yeah, that's going to be it for me, guys. I'll see you guys for the next video or stream. Peace out.